to the basement.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Basement Boys podcast. I am Chris Gray. That is, as always, Devin Mitchell.
What to do?
And let's just jump into it. So, Devin,
Yo,
take
we
us away.
coming at you. We coming at you from a different worldwide perspective, and we talking soccer right off the back. My man Chris is already rocking my club, Gold Red Bulls, and they're back. Their MLS is back. We're coming better than ever, and we're going down Disney. And hell, we might be hanging out with the NBA. But real quick, we doing a World Cup seminar. Yo,
Oh, I'm sorry.
side note, fuck the Smurfs. But anyway, we're doing a World Cup style tournament coming at you live for about a month, starting July 8th. It's going to be hella dope. You got teams from the Western in four teams per group from the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, a little different over here. One group is 6 teams, all the rest 4 teams. Just because Nashville needs a home, and they decide, yo, Nashville, we're putting you in the Eastern Conference for the whole season. But I'm pumped because first and foremost, Red Bulls should be able to win their group stage. You're looking at they're playing in a group with Atlanta, Cincy, Columbus, and Cincinnati. They're just an upstart team, and they're already in so much turmoil. Already have fired their coach. Already picked a new coach who, when they signed him, they put a wrong picture of him up on the website.
Rough.
Yeah, that's that's a pretty good way to start a job. Hey, look, I got this new job as a manager at this MLS club. Go to the website. Oh, dude, that's not my picture. That's rough.
That's not you, liar.
But in the Western Conference, you gotta be pumped up because I believe it's Group F. You're looking at LAFC, LA Galaxy, Portland. I don't even care about the last team. I'm just pumped to see the El Tráfico rivalry going on already because last season, 3 games, yo, it was awesome. These teams already don't like each other. Galaxy, they're the OGs. Let's be real. They're one of the original founders of the league. LAFC, young, hungry, backed by all the celebrities like Will Ferrell, Magic Johnson, and they're making names for themselves. They're led by Bob Bradley, and that might be the match of the tournament right there.
So what you're saying to me is there's an old team that's been in the state for a pretty long time, and they have like a crappy, like super generic name, and then this new team comes in and wants to be like a real football club and has an FC after their name, and they're just ready to fuck shit up and dethrone the old guard. That's basically what you're telling me.
I mean, if we're going to split hairs, I'm pretty sure Galaxy have FC at the end of their name. But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sounds pretty familiar to what's happening on the East Coast. Anyway,
Only difference is that when we play on the East Coast, we actually have to play in a real soccer stadium and not a baseball stadium.
and the most legendary stadium of all time, the house that Ruth built, dude.
Oh, I thought when you said legendary stadium, you talking about the old Trafford Bridge over there in England.
You son of a bitch.
Got him. Yeah, but it's hype. So top 2 teams advance, basically doing a classic World Cup tournament style. And these games that these teams win are going to count towards regular season points. So you might be looking at, one team being the quote unquote COVID Cup tournament champion and the MLS 2020 champion. It could happen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously like the logical step for the MLS. It's the classic soccer, football, whatever model. Um, I feel like this is how soccer is meant to be played in these tournament style ideas. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the seasons and I love that, but like, I feel like this is really what soccer was bred for.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the only way to do it for the MLS, and honestly, the smartest way.
And also, you can still salvage the rest of your season. Because like you're still, so I forget exactly how many points it's going to be awarded to the games you win. It could be the traditional 3 points, for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss.
Oh wait,
But
so they're still keeping their current points.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that one.
sorry about that. And when all this went down, I believe they were in the second week of the season. So you got some teams up, got 2 wins. We got one team, a couple teams with 0 wins. Like, it's still anyone's season that could happen. It's still anyone's season.
But they're not, at the very least, throwing out the couple things that have happened.
Right.
Which, honestly, I don't think anyone would have blamed them for either. I think
No.
it's good that they're not, but, like, just coming off the short season that they had to begin with, I could see them being like, you know what, like, if you're really the best team out there right now, 2 games ain't going to make a difference.
Right. And the way they did it, too, I like the fact that you got the Eastern Conference teams playing the Eastern Conference, Western Conference teams playing Western Conference. So, in theory, we are going to find out who the best in the East is, best in the West is. And then, they'll meet for the tournament championship. And who knows, maybe we see a rematch. Maybe that builds into the story of the season and drives up sales and gets more people invested.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only way they could reasonably do it right now. I mean, that's what a lot of teams are looking at, just to lessen the load with like all the COVID-19 stuff going on, less travel, mainly just less travel.
Yeah.
Again, that's the smartest and probably the only way they could have gotten it done right now, feasibly. Because I'm sure even for like a professional sports team who might have like a private plane or something like this, that, or the third, like I'm sure it's still hard to like move people, like get track time, get like runway time, get anything like that. So with everything going on.
Yeah, to get your whole league into one city and be able to play the games in one location takes all the logistics out of that. Makes their lives a lot easier.
Right. And just the East-West type of split up just keeps it more centralized, I guess.
Yeah. I think they're actually playing their games in Disney right next to where the NBA is going to be playing. So, like, that's like another cool aspect that Disney's like, yo, we got you guys. Bring your sports here. Let's sign these contracts. Let's get some revenue increase and let's keep making money.
Well, they want to make money right now, too, because this is prime amusement park season.
Oh, yeah.
This is prime vacation season. This is prime everything season, and they have it all. They have the beaches. They have the amusement parks. They have the hotels. Like, for them to not be making money now is catastrophic.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I guess talking about the NBA, since we're already here, it's not looking so well for their season at all.
Nope.
I think it was agreed upon, and it's still going to happen, but It's very much looking like all the big stars, all the main players are not going to play. Apparently, this whole movement is being led by Kyrie Irving, which shouts to Kyrie for this. Because I honestly think it's really cool. They are saying with everything going on, the protests, the just the injustices that are being fought against the world, that they don't want to take away from the movement, and they think basketball can be distracting, and it's just not what anyone needs right now. And I think it's really cool that they're taking a stand, being like, hey, we understand that we are the thing that creates revenue in this. And if you take us away, if you put us out there, it can be a distraction. And if you take us away, it even more amplifies the movement, because people know they could have this, but they don't, because these players decided to use their platform to protest by not necessarily going out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Almost like a blackout on their own right.
Yep.
And I mean, it sucks. Like, I want professional sports back. Devin wants professional sports back. We all want professional sports back. Especially when you do a podcast, when you mainly talk about sports. Like, let's just be honest. But if we need to be without it for a little longer because of these protests, and because of the reform that people are fighting for and that needs to happen, like, it's something like you have to understand it at the very least. You can't knock the guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be real interested to see who actually sticks to their guns and will actually sit out the season. Because I've seen a couple reports from cats like Austin Rivers says, son of Coach Doc Rivers. He's been like, hey, I will donate the rest of my salary and like whatever money we would make for the season to, the Black Lives Movement. And I know other players, I'm sure, are right there with him and be like, yeah, we'll donate. But to actually sit out, this postseason, regular season tournament that they're going to do, I'll be interested to see who's actually joining Kyrie, who's going to sit out too.
It seems like, from what I've heard so far, majority of the big stars, at the very least, it seems to want to do it. Again, like you said, we need to see who would stick to their guns. But like, I'm seeing a bunch of stuff coming out. Like, literally right before we started recording this, I saw a post by Dwight Howard saying, like, yeah, would I love to go and get my first ring? Absolutely. Like, I would love nothing more than that. But I would love more or it means more to me to amplify this movement. And like, I'm not exactly quoting him.
You're paraphrasing.
Yeah. But yeah, just like basically that this is more important, and as much as this means to me, there are bigger things.
Right. Now, I want to play devil's advocate for a quick second.
Ooh.
Do you think Kyrie would be leading the charge if he wasn't coming off a shoulder injury?
I mean, I think it definitely helps him. I don't want to put that on him, because I just don't want to come off as another white guy on the internet saying, oh, damn, these guys are only doing this because here or there. Like, you know what I mean?
You almost fell for the trap.
Yeah, right? Um, so I'm not gonna tell him how he's thinking and what he's doing, but like I will say I'm sure the fact that he's injured and it even if he could play, it'd be harder for him to play, doesn't make the decision harder.
Yeah.
But I also don't necessarily I wouldn't say I've seen anything that would make me be like, oh yeah, he's definitely not doing this. Like doing it because of this, or the third.
Right.
And because of that, I'm not gonna like put words in the guy's mouth per se.
Right.
Like if there was something where like he had come out before, like pandering to causes to try to get his name and attention, like maybe I might be a little more willing to say.
Mm-hmm.
But you've never seen that. You've never seen like his character come into question like that.
Right.
So again, I would never put words in his mouth.
Hey, I'm just over here trying to make good content right now. What can I say?
How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I feel like Kyrie has been one of the leaders of the whole Black Lives Matter movement in the NBA. Him, along with like LeBron and Kobe and Chris Paul, when this first started back in 2014, I feel like they were one of the first ones that were pushing for, change and trying to bring awareness. And I think the timing just kind of fell into Kyrie's hands, and he's sitting there rehabbing, probably itching to get back, and is thinking to himself, "This is just my personal opinion. Not, I can't talk to Kyrie, not that close with him, but he's probably thinking there, like, yo, we need to do something to make a change. I need to help. What's the best way I can do that? I can sit out, these playoffs, and if I get my teammates or friends and superstars, to sit out, like it brings it shines a brighter light on the movement. It shows that we are all together and we're not going to play until change happens and we get the conversation going."
They're showing up by sitting out almost.
Yeah.
And like I said, I honestly think it's great. I think it's a very powerful thing to do because it's not something you've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you've seen things where they came out with like the I Can't Breathe shirts and did that picture, or when the Donald Sterling thing happened,
Mm-hmm.
you saw them come out with everything inside out, like the Clippers or whatever.
Yep.
And we still have to talk about these things.
Right.
So I definitely think it's a logical step to be like, hey, we tried to do these things where we made statements and let you guys still have the fun and still have the basketball, but now like you're
This
still
is
not doing
serious.
you're still not doing anything about it. So guess what? We're taking that away from you.
Right.
And I think it's a very, very powerful statement.
Yeah. I don't think you could get any more powerful than not showing up to play.
Yeah, you're losing, and they're losing millions of dollars out of their own pockets.
Right.
Just to make a stand. And I think there might be a decent amount of the younger players who play just because they can't miss the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a young player who like is not a Zion, is not a Ja Morant, is not a like any one of these guys, like don't know how long you're going to be in this league, maybe you're in the G League, maybe you're like, this is an opportunity for you.
Right.
Like, you could go out and go from, like, some of these G League guys are not being built up to be on an NBA team. They're just guys who love to play basketball, and now
Mhm.
you're giving them a shot at a ring.
Right.
Something they never thought they were going to get. I think you'll see a lot of that,
Yeah.
especially from the younger players, because they also can't miss the paycheck.
Right. Not. I wouldn't even say just the younger players. I would say probably the lesser known guys that aren't the superstars or even just a star player. Talking about like number 10, 11, 12 on the bench.
You think Lin Sanity makes a comeback? Comes out of China? Gets ring number 2 back-to-back years?
No. I'm gonna go hard no because he would have to. I think he has to quarantine for like 2 weeks if he comes back, and I don't know how much practicing and learning a brand new playbook he can do in 2 weeks without the rest of the team there.
Hey, man, there's Zoom.
Yeah, but you know what? Zoom ain't gonna let you know that your teammate is coming down the left side, and you better hit him right as he gets to the 3-point line because that's his sweet spot.
Are you questioning the power of Zoom, Dev?
It might be. Come at me, Microsoft. But speaking of players not being able to play, baseball.
Oh, no, they go and play.
They're going to play. Players
Bob
have
Manfred has made that very clear.
Well, now, as it comes out, I believe this is the 5th proposal that's gone back and forth between the owners and the Major League Baseball Players Association.
Really? Is it only 5? It feels like so much more. I feel like every day they're just like, nah, fuck you. Fuck your proposal. No, fuck your proposal. Like,
I think it's only 5, but every day it's, like you said, it's fuck you. No, fuck you. No, fuck you kind of thing. Where the Players Association has basically made it to the owners, okay, we're rejecting this current offer of 80% prorated salary and like 70, 80 games or something like that. You guys want to play baseball, set a schedule, set a date, and we'll tell the players when to show up, and they'll be there.
yeah, because of the agreement in March, Manfred has the ability to set any season, any length, any this, that, or the third, whatever he wants, but it has to be at their prorated salary.
Mm-hmm.
Where the MLB is arguing that it was the legal language that says like they were open to renegotiating salaries for this season or this, that, or the third. And apparently it's just the whole agreement is a very like labor lawyers are all reading it 6 different ways from Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically from what I've heard or like what I've seen and what I've heard and like everything, they can set it as long as they want, and they're probably going to set it shorter if they're going to, if at all,
Mm-hmm.
if they are going to have to pay the full prorated salaries, which is looking like is going to happen. And the MLBPA just said, look, we're done negotiating. Schedule it. Do it. I'm calling your bluff.
Yeah. And I was also reading that, there's still the chance that the PA and the owners can file their own respective grievances, which won't interrupt the season, but knowing that, hey, these players, could be playing while this grievance is going on, like, I'm kind of intrigued. Like, I kind of want to watch this play out.
I feel like if that happens, most of the main stars are just not going to play. Because halfway through the season, they could realize they're making half of what they thought they were going to make.
Yeah.
Maybe not half, but 80%, 70%, like whatever it is.
Listen, I know it's been a while since I played baseball, but put me at the end of the bench and just let me dress. Like, I'm okay with that.
Out of all these sports that you've made this joke with, Dev, I feel like baseball is the absolute worst one because they have like 9 teams under each team.
I know.
There's so many people they could choose from.
I know. I'm just trying out here to make some extra cash. What can I say?
No, I get it. Speaking of which, go check on over on our Facebook. New merch store has just opened up.
Wow, 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 wow.
Amazing, dazzling designs. We will have examples for you in a few days because my order has not got here yet. But I bought a bunch of shit because it's fucking awesome. And I'm just super excited to get it myself.
Hell yeah. We coming with hats, hoodies, shirts, tanks.
You can get a bandana for your dog.
We'll show them puppers, some love. Keep them cool and stylish at the same time.
Got fucking fanny packs. You heard? No, we do though.
I must have missed that. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Fucking, we will be having. Speaking of which, we'll be having new merch designs dropping all the time. So always check back. It's 15% off the entire store right now. Go check that shit out. Anyway, a little. It's our first ad read, Dev, but it was for us.
Cool. So your check's in the mail.
Yeet. Anyway. So yeah, back it's just basically it looks like negotiations are over. It's we're either headed into lawsuits or we're heading into some form of a season, and we just gotta kind of wait and see how that's all gonna turn out. But
Yeah.
I knew the MLBPA was not gonna budge because this is the first step, at least in their minds, to a salary cap, and they are not going to accept that.
Right. And I feel like everything that gets negotiated for this year is going to go towards next year's negotiations whenever they start that for the CBA because it's set to expire.
Right. And I 100% think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think they'll get this contract and then the MLB will bring it to them and be like, well, this is what we decided on last time and it worked out pretty well, right? You know what I mean? And then they will be able to use it to be like, hey, because eventually if that did happen, I think again it would lead to a lawsuit or some type of mitigation. You know what I mean? Like some independent arbiter or whatever it is. I don't even know if that's the right word.
Arbitrator?
That one. But
if it got to that,
yeah, they can. But the MLB will bring it up to them and be like, "Hey, look, they've already agreed to this one time. Like, why is this any different?" Blah blah blah, and it'd be a good point for them to stand on. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew right from the beginning that it was just never going to happen.
Right. Yeah, basically, MLB Players Association took a page out of Stone Cold Steve Austin's playbook and flipped the owners the bird and said, you know what? Fuck you guys. Deal with it. By the way, I'm taking my belt and walking out of here as a champion. And then they gave him a stunner and drank a beer on top of their body.
I mean, it's what I would do if I had a decision.
If I could, I would totally do it. You get a stunner. You get a stunner. Everyone gets stunners.
Yeah, so moving on. Gotta talk a little fighting. Past fight card this week. Cynthia Calvillo made her divisional debut at 125, which I think was a better weight class for her. She has missed weight. And she looked great, took care of who I feel like is getting a little more on the older side. But yeah, good win for her. Every single person I've seen is killing Jessica Ai for this fight, though, because she came out and said, missing weight on a fighter is just unprofessional, and it just shows a lack of discipline and a lack of care, and blah 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 blah. And then she missed weight by like 0.2 pounds.
When you say you miss weight, does that just mean like you didn't hit you're out of that weight class?
So when you miss weight, the weight class they were in was the 125-pound weight class. So for a weight class, you get a pound allowance as long as it's not a title fight.
Okay.
It's the same thing in like wrestling and everything. So they have to, the night before they have to weigh, or the morning before, like the day before, they have to weigh in at 125 pounds. They're allowed to weigh in at 126 pounds and still be considered making weight as long as it's a title fight.
Okay.
It's called a pound allowance. So she weighed in at 126.25.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is still technically missing weight. You did not make the weight limit.
Right.
And she's saying, oh, like, I want to see you do it on 2 weeks. Like, how are you coming at me for this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I mean, you had to see this coming. Like, you said it fairly recently, and then you go and miss weight.
Right.
If your body wasn't in the shape it like you would normally want it to be able to fight, to like be able to make weight like easily enough and like be able to actually even make it. I think you shouldn't agree. They shouldn't have agreed to do it. I get it. It's a main event, which is good for her. But it is, and like, don't get me wrong, I like Jessica Ai. Like, I think she's a good fighter. I think like she's been in the UFC for forever, and it's not like she has a habit of missing weight, but like it's just you had to see it coming, and she just started like hitting back at everyone, and she made her Instagram account private and yada yada yada. So I just think it was probably not the best way to handle it,
Right.
especially since you're already kind of being made fun of for it, but is what it is, I guess. Like,
Unfortunately,
I don't hold it against Jessica that she missed weight. Like, I get what she's saying. Like, it was 2 weeks. I did my best. I was 0.25 off.
right.
But like, you missed weight after making those comments.
Right. Basically, you kind of making yourself look like a hypocrite.
Yeah. And sorry, but it's what happened.
So when you miss weight, I'm guessing you're still allowed to fight then, or how's that work then?
It depends on the commission, because fighting's hard because there are different rules depending on the state.
Right.
A lot of the time, like in certain states, if you're like, I know in New York, if you're not within like a certain percentage of body weight, when you miss weight, like if you miss weight by 10 pounds, you're not allowed to fight.
Okay.
But if you miss weight by like Jessica Ai, like 0.2 pounds, you can still fight.
Okay.
As long as your opponent agrees. But the rule is in most places, and I think even the UFC might have made this a rule now, that if you miss weight, 20% of your fight purse goes to your opponent.
Oh, damn.
Win or lose.
Bro. So whatever Jessica Ai was supposed to make, since she lost, 20% of that is going to her opponent, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And not just since she lost, just since they fought.
Right. Like
Um,
if she had won, her opponent would still get 20% of that.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of fighters joke, like, it's kind of like a win-win for me in that case, because if I win, I get a win.
Right.
If I lose, not only does that person get her win bonus, but she also gets her show bonus. She gets her win bonus. Like her show money, she gets her win money, and then I get more money.
Right. As we like to do. Money, money. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so either way, because they either get their win bonus or they get the other person's 20% of the other person's win bonus, and depending on your contract, that could be more money than your win bonus.
Nice little payday right there.
Right, exactly. So, and like I said, I don't even personally hold it against Jessica. I understand. Like, I've cut weight before. I wrestled in high school. Like, I didn't cut like a lot like these guys, but I know it sucks. Like, it's not fun. So, and 2 weeks, like 2 weeks out, you don't know if she, like, how well she was watching her diet, this, that, and the third. There's a lot of issues, and especially, from what I've heard from like the doctors in the fighting field, for women, it can be harder to cut weight, especially with things like their menstruation cycle. Like, it makes them hold water, like hold, like, the hormones in these things makes you like hold water and like bloat sometimes, and like that can severely fuck with a woman's weight cut, and it's something that like men don't have to deal with.
Right. So another question for you might be stupid, but you keep saying that, she did this with 2 weeks out. Did she not know she was fighting until 2 weeks ago? Because I always thought they, your opponent at least like a couple months beforehand.
They usually do, but like I said, because the UFC, like, because of the COVID thing, and like some people don't want to fight, some people can't get into the country, like they're switching things around a lot. So a lot of these fights are being signed on like 2-3 weeks notice.
Okay.
So she probably didn't even know.
Okay.
Like, they just announced the fight for next week. Like the main event, which is like a few days ago, which is Curtis Blades versus Alexander Volkov. Curtis Blades is the guy who like got trashed on the internet because he came out like talking shit on like Paige Van Zandt and saying, "Oh, you're only here because you're pretty," and blah 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 blah. And he's a crazy wrestler. He exploded Alexander Overeem's face. I feel like every time we talk about these fights, we talk about how Alexander Overeem just got fucking annihilated by someone. I feel so bad. Like, he got his fucking face those elbows were nasty. He was just on top, raining him down, every ounce of his body weight into it. It was disgusting.
He just has to open up Blade's face and people will stop talking about him.
Well, no, he's not. Overeem is the guy who just beat Walt Harris.
Oh, my mistake.
And just crushed everyone's fucking dreams. Because Walt Harris was the guy whose daughter had passed away.
Right.
That I told you about.
Right.
So he ended up losing that fight. Ugh, I feel so bad for that man. But Curtis Blades has also fought Overeem and just like wrestled him down and exploded his face. And he's fighting Alexander Volkov, who I believe is coming off. I know he beat Greg Hardy, but I believe he's coming off that win. Which good, because I like seeing Greg Hardy get punched in the face.
Yep, he won in a unanimous decision on November 9th, 2019.
Right. So yeah, that was his last fight. And he's a dangerous guy. He was beating the shit out of Derek Lewis until Derek Lewis him straight to the face at the last second. Which, if you don't know Derek Lewis, his whole style is he'll sit, he'll wait, he'll throw bombs, and one of them's gonna connect eventually.
Drop bombs on you. Drop bombs.
And also, the main way everyone knows about Derek Lewis is because his balls was hot.
What?
Oh, you've never seen my balls was hot, Dev?
No.
Okay, so I think it was after he beat Alexander Volkov, or it might have not been Volkov. It might have been Volkov. I don't remember. He always says something funny after the end of his interviews. So he wins whatever fight it was. Literally takes off his pants and like takes off his like the shorts, his fight
Yeah.
shorts in the middle of the ring, and starts waiting for Joe Rogan to come up and interview him. So Joe Rogan, being Joe Rogan, is just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go up and find out what this is all about. So
Right.
first question is, so Derek, why'd you take your pants off? And Joe puts up the mic, he just goes right into the mic, looks right into the camera, and he goes, my balls was hot. You've really never seen this video, Dev?
Nope.
I'm gonna need you to go on YouTube right now, look up this video, and we need to get your live reaction.
All right, give me. But keep talking.
This is one of the most iconic UFC videos of all time. Derek Lewis is the absolute fucking GOAT. I love Derek Lewis so much. Yeah, and he's piggybacking off that, and he's saying funny shit in every single one of his interviews these days. And he has the most fire Instagram of any UFC fighter I've ever seen in my life.
I'm here with the winner, Derek Lewis. Derek, why don't you take your pants off? My balls was hot.
Right? Derek Lewis is the absolute GOAT.
Phenomenal. It was an incredible.
Oh my god, that is epic.
And it shows one of the reasons why people.
And I love how he's just like, dude, my balls is hot. Like,
And Joe Rogan's just like, okay, you know what? You answered my question.
I mean-
wasn't the answer I was expecting, but hey, you did it. Let's move on.
well, like the way I thought he was like coming at you, being like, "Yo, man, I'm the greatest, man. I'm so good. You know, my balls are hot." Nah, dude, it's just like, dude, my balls are hot. Like, they're on fire. It's hot. I just put in work. Like, I need to cool down for a little bit. Like, all right, Derek Lewis. All right.
Or my other favorite Derek Lewis quote is, I think it was after he was fighting Travis Brown,
Mm-hmm.
who's Ronda Rousey's husband. He was getting kicked in the stomach a lot, and he was like, oh, like blah 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 blah. So in the post-fight interview, he ended up coming back and winning that fight. Just talking to Rogan again, or it might have been Anik this time, I don't remember. And they were just like, oh, it looked like those body kicks were really getting to you. He's just like, nah, I just had to do number 2. I love Derek Lewis. He's one of the funniest motherfuckers alive.
Yeah, I might just have to catch all his post fight interviews now.
Oh, no, like, go find a highlight reel of his post-fight interviews. It's great. But yeah, I do actually really like that fight between Curtis Blades and Alexander Volkov. I think it'll be a chance for Curtis Blades to maybe open up with his striking a little bit, because he has been making strides. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad striker in any sense, but he's much more wrestling oriented.
Yeah.
Or he could just, but I think this fight is a fight that he could show it off a little more. I feel like Volkov's style would make it easier for him. He's not super quick. He's not super athletic. Like, he's just a good striker, and he's a striking type guy. Like, there's no chance in hell he's going to even attempt to go to the ground with Curtis Blades, in my opinion. I really don't think that happens.
Yeah. So Volkov, I'm sorry. All about the striking, and Blades is a better grappler, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, he
Right.
was NCAA wrestler, if I believe so.
Damn.
Yeah. You see a lot of those, like the guys in wrestling who maybe are done with their Olympic career, don't really have a career in the Olympics to go to,
Mm-hmm.
the move nowadays is to go to MMA because
Okay.
wrestling is probably the most important base in
Gotcha.
wrestling. Because if you can strike all day, if you can't strike but you can wrestle, you're probably not going to win every fight. A la Ben Askren
Mm-hmm.
is not a striker, but until he got to the UFC, he was just murking everybody. Like champion of Bellator, champion of One, champion in World Series of Fighting, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he went undefeated until he got to the UFC, and then Jorge Masvidal just fucking blew up his face with a knee. But striking, where having good striking is a great thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a great striker going up a great wrestler, if you're a great striker who can't wrestle, who's going up a great wrestler who can't strike, 99.999999 times out of 100, the wrestler's probably going to win.
Okay.
It's just a much more controlling type art.
Right.
If you don't know what to do with your hands or do with your legs or do whatever when a guy is grabbing onto you, or you don't know how to block that, block even the grab, because a good wrestler, once they get a solid hand, like once they get a solid grip on you, especially if you don't know anything about grappling, you're going
It's
down.
over.
Where a striker has to catch him on the way into that.
Right.
If he didn't know any grappling, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why MMA is really about the balance.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the fight card's looking pretty good. Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos. Love that fight. I like Josh Emmett. When he's on, he's on. And he's almost always on. That's actually a pretty good fight now that I think about it. Like, I'm actually pretty excited for that one. Raquel Pennington versus Marion Renault. That one I'm not too sure about. Like, I think it'll be a good fight, but I really don't know who I'm picking in that one.
Yeah.
Bilal Muhammad versus Lyman Good. I think that's the sleeper fight of the card. Honestly.
Would you say that's a good fight?
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Oh, I see. You fucking asshole. You fucking asshole. I honestly think Bilal Muhammad takes that one. I think he's a little more of a well-rounded fighter, but Lyman Good, so just athletic and explosive and just a monster.
Mm-hmm.
It could go either way. And then you start off that card with the main card anyway, with Jim Miller versus Roosevelt Roberts. Roberts I've been hearing about a little bit, but like I don't know him that well. And Jim Miller is just an old grizzled dog who just, it doesn't matter how old he gets, he still very much deserves to be in the UFC. He's not like top title contender. He's not like one of those top guys anymore, but like Jim Miller, even though he's getting older and it's like he's not like a BJ Penn who's getting older and hasn't won a fight in almost like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna go in there, he's gonna fight, and he's gonna make it a fight.
Yeah, I'm just looking up his last 5 fights real quick for Jim Miller, and he's 3-2.
Yeah. Like I said, he's not top tier anymore, but he's definitely deserving to be there. It feels like they're trying for Roosevelt Roberts just like make Jim Miller the sacrificial lamb to boost up the new guy. Mm-hmm. But Jim Miller spoiled that before, and there's a solid chance he can do it again. Like I said, I don't know super much about Roberts, but he just started coming into my radar. Yeah. But I am definitely I'll always watch Jim Miller fight. He's always gonna at least make it entertaining. But yeah, should be a fun card. That's about all I got, Dev. What do you got? Anything?
Well, that's about it. I would say that never thought I would say this before, but yo, props to NASCAR for making moves real quick.
Right? That was
Bubba-
super surprising for me.
Right? Bubba Wallace, only black driver in NASCAR from Alabama, by the way, came out, I think, last Sunday wearing the I Can't Breathe shirts. And after the race, while he's been interviewed, he told NASCAR that, hey, the next step is to remove all Confederate flags from, race tracks and tailgating areas. And
But the other thing is he was also driving a car, the number 43, which I don't know much about NASCAR, which is apparently like a big number.
is it?
And like I said, I don't know about NASCAR, but from what I've heard, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But I guess like the car had like a white hand and a black hand holding hands. It said Black Lives Matter on the side, like
right.
And then to go through with this Confederate flag ban thing, that's really good on NASCAR, and that's good on NASCAR because that is something that is definitely going to affect their bottom line.
Oh, yeah.
NASCAR is like, quote unquote, like the hick sport.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so than like the UFC is kind of in that category too. I don't think anymore, but like coming up, it was more in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
But NASCAR is for sure the hick sport. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So this is definitely going to affect their bottom line. I would say most people that go to a NASCAR race are definitely Republican, and you can see those. Not saying, you know what I mean. Like they're the ones who seem to cling to the Confederate flag, and like you see the Confederate flag on full display there every single time.
Yep.
Like if you think of your like if a cartoon was going to put on a stereotypical NASCAR guy, every single one I've ever seen has a hat with the Confederate flag on it.
Yep.
Like this is a big move for them.
Right. And props for them being so quick about it too. And not sitting there twiddling their thumbs, like, oh, should we do this? Should we not do this? Oh, let's weigh it out. Here's the pros, here's the cons. No, I think Bubba Wallace makes that statement on like a Sunday, and by like a Tuesday, if that, boom, done, official.
And it really, I think what's so great about this is it really kind of hammers home the point that this is not a race thing. This is a more morality thing.
Right.
This is about if you're a good person or not. This is not about anything else. This is not a black-white thing. Like, you know what I mean? I really, dude, it makes me really happy, but I never thought in the midst of a global pandemic, the pandemic wouldn't be the thing consuming sports.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
And it honestly just makes me so happy to see. Like, it makes me feel like things are actually working this time. You know what I mean? Maybe not perfectly, maybe not in every way, shape, or form we want, but we really feel like we're on the precipice of change.
Mm-hmm. We get in there. We 2020 has been the year of, oh, fucking A. Like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. And
right at the center mark.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're gonna get the backswing of that and get all the good we've been missing out on for the past 6 months.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, yo. Fingers crossed.
All right, but I think that's a pretty good note to end it, Dev.
Yep. A little positive note to go out on.
Yeah, right. I think it's the first show we've ever ended on a positive note, Dev. It's a great day.
Yo, we catching that backswing.
All right. So, guys, just once again, just make sure to go check out the shop. Head over to facebook.com/Basement Boys Pod. Hit the shop now button and buy yourself some nice stuff.
Or buy a gift for a friend, family member, whoever it may be.
Your dog,
Or your dogs. Can't
fanny-
forget about them dogs.
fanny pack enthusiasts. I don't know.
And
All right,
also,
guys.
don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that goodness.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
So
It's been real. Till next
I-
time.
I am Chris Gray. That right there. This side is Devin Mitchell. We are the
On the real.
Basement Boys, and see ya.
Deuces.
Welcome to the basement.